Gunned down, a man is dead following an early morning shooting on Blue Hill Road, and police are asked if they've got a handle on crime. Plus, a police constable is behind bars after being accused of using his badge to solicit sex. We have the details from that arraignment. And residents give mixed reactions to the 7 hour long Independence event on Clifford Park, while organizers explain why some acts were cut. And then in our news at 7:30, estimates are in for that structural fire at BPL's North Andros plant. The power company says it could cost them $600,000 to fix the issue. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. The director of the Independence Cultural Show is on the record explaining why some acts were cut. He says there were unanticipated presentations and speeches that took away allocated time for cultural performances. Well, residents reacted today, and we'll have their responses coming up later. But first, investigators were called to an early morning murder scene after a man in his mid-20s was found in a white Paso with gunshot wounds in the Blue Hill Road South area. Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Chrislyn Skippings had these details.
I can say that the individual is currently on bail for murder, and he was also being electronically monitored for that offense. And so we're going to allow the officers from the Criminal Investigation Department to do their due diligence as they usually do.
Now, Skippings could not say how long the body had been there, but she did say that rigor mortis had set in. As for whether police truly have a grip on crime,
Yes, family members have an equal responsibility in the fight against crime. Those of you, again, who know that your family members are involved in criminal activity, there are some things that as responsible citizens you ought to be doing. One of them is collaborating with your police department and providing the information to your police department. Persons who are on EMD, they have stipulations. They should be home within a certain period of time. Their devices should always be charged. As responsible family members of these individuals who are granted bail and on EMD, you ought to ensure that they are compliant with their conditions of bail. When you do that, you make your best contribution in the fight against crime. It's a collective effort.
a police constable is behind bars after being accused of using his badge to solicit sex. Constable 4206 Shaquille Williamson stood before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt charged with procuration. Prosecutors allege that Williamson was on patrol alone on July 5th when he came across a couple parked on a beach. A name check revealed that the 32-year-old woman had 2 outstanding warrants. Officer Williamson allegedly told her she had to have sex with him. Williamson was not required to enter a plea to the charge and denied bail. He returns to court on October 12. State Minister for Legal Affairs Jomo Campbell is speaking out about the burglary and sexual assault of an 82-year-old woman. Campbell making it clear that these things have no place in Bahamian society.
We have zero tolerance for this type of sick and ugly behavior. No Bahamian, male or even female for that instance, should think it is normal or acceptable to be a sexual abuser towards anyone, especially an 82-year-old precious pearl.
Police arrested the 50-year-old suspect just a few hours following the incident yesterday, adding that he has been in custody for similar offenses several times before now. The incident happened around 1:40 a.m. The victim was asleep at her home on Wolf Road when she was awoken and assaulted by the man.
As Bahamian men, let us learn to love and cherish our Bahamian women. And as Bahamian women, likewise. Madam Speaker, yesterday the police advised that investigations are being conducted into an alleged suicide. Reports are that an 18-year-old female was found hanging inside a closet with an electrical cord around her neck. I publicly wish to offer my condolences to this young lady's family.
Two new judges moving up the rankings as a new acting justice of the Court of Appeal and a new acting chief magistrate were sworn in today. Our Marlena Leonard spoke to both of them after their ceremonies and has this report.
The judiciary seeing two familiar faces move up in the ranks. The most senior of them is Senior Justice Bernard Turner. He spoke with us just after he was sworn in as an acting justice of the Court of Appeal. Turner, who has served as the Senior Justice of the Supreme Court, says he looks at his new position as another form of serving the country.
I have served now in the Supreme Court for going on 14 years, and so I see this as another form of service within the administration of justice, within the judiciary of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the highest local court, the Privy Council, of course, being the final appellate court for the Bahamas.
He says in our 50th year of independence, he's proud of his years of service to the country.
I've been employed in the service of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas now for 35 years and 1 month. So a substantial portion of the 50 years of independence I've worked for and on behalf of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And it has given me a measure of satisfaction. It's surprising how quickly the time has gone. I started this work as a young man, and now here it is, moving towards the senior years, but I'm happy to be able to do so.
Earlier, Roberto Reckley was sworn in as acting chief magistrate at the Hansard Building by Chief Justice Sir Ian Winder. He says finding out he was selected was a humbling experience.
And I hope that I can certainly make a difference in the magistrate courts. Having served as an attorney in private practice for some time, I have some perspective that may assist.
A local daily reported that some magistrates with more experience felt overlooked by the selection of Reckley. We asked the new acting chief magistrate what he feels his experience will bring to the role.
I think as an advocate, having served as an advocate, it brings the appreciation for matters to move through the system more frequently, with more speed, at the same time while justice is being rendered according to the law and fair. Again, I just look forward to bringing some change through the vision that the Chief Justice has. I hope I can bring that to fruition.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Thanks, Marlena. Well, it's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Happy Wednesday evening, everybody. Another warm day around the islands. Temperatures managed to get into the 90s once again, with the feels like temperature in the triple digits. It is still warm on the outside, 88 degrees with a few clouds outside our studios. Your winds are out of the east at 9 miles per hour, and they are continuing to fall off, so it's not going to give us any relief. And your feels like temperature is a very warm 93. Around the islands tonight, temperatures are in the mid to upper 80s, 87 in Freeport, 86 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. We pick up 88s in Alistown, Bimini, Great Harbor, Key here in the capital, 89 Nicholstown. Governor's Harbor, you guys are 86 into the central Bahamas, more 80s, mid to upper 80s there, with 87 in Kemps Bay. 86s in Arthurstown, Cat Island, Georgetown, and in Deadman's Key. Coburn Town, San Salvador, you guys are 88 with just a few sprinkles nearby, and into the southeast Bahamas. 87 in Duncantown, Ragged Island, and in Abrams Bay. Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, and Delectable Bay, Acklands, both 86. 87 in Matthewtown, Inagua, and our neighbors at the southeast. You are the warm spot in the deep south, 88 degrees. Taking a look at our satellite and radar composite, nothing much to talk about across most of the islands. We do have a weak frontal boundary to the north of the Bahamas. That is providing some showers and some isolated thunderstorms across the Abacos, Grand Bahama, as well as the Bimini area. That front is going to sag slowly towards the south, but it will pull east, and high pressure will continue to dominate our weather. We do still have some Saharan dust across our area, very thin layer, so it's going to be a little milky out there, but hot temperatures once again tonight through tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on Our News, residents are weighing in on the drama surrounding the Independence event on Clifford Park. Find out what they had to say. Plus, over 400 homes and businesses in Little Exuma will soon have piped water, as $9 million worth of contracts were awarded to two companies to get that job done. And could we see changes to our building codes? We have the answer when Our News returns.
March on, Bahama.
Well, hundreds filled Clifford Park and thousands more tuned in via television, all to witness the months of hard work that went into planning the 50th anniversary of the Bahamas' independence. The show lasting some 7 hours, yet some cultural acts had to be cut. Tonight, residents weigh in.
Well, actually, one of my group members, she was a member of the National Children's Choir, and she was out there waiting to sing, and they were cut from the act. It didn't sit right with me that, especially for the children, to be cut.
But I can imagine the persons who came to prepared to perform. I can imagine because they put a lot of energy and time into their performances, and to find out that it was cut, that could have amount to a lot of disappointment for them.
That's residents giving their take on the drama surrounding the event that was held on Clifford Park. The traditional Independence Tattoo and March highlighting all things Bahamian, from songs to cultural dances, the armed forces, Bahamian history, and more. The event lasting some 7 hours and was said to be timed down to the minute. But according to one of the directors for the cultural segment, Philip Burrows, there were unanticipated presentations and speeches by international guests, which then took away allocated time for cultural performances. Tanya Sampson says time management is key. On the other hand, these residents say they were extremely impressed with the festivities, understanding that some things happened despite the months of planning.
It was extraordinary from the beginning all the way to the end. Even with the prayer, I see people are on Facebook and they have their view. This is a country built on God.
And my main sentiment is I'm just proud of the Bahamas. I think people need to remember that we're just a young country, so it takes a long time to grow into your identity.
Also impressed was primary school student Adam Thompson. While many adults thought the celebrations were a bit lengthy, he says he thoroughly enjoyed learning about our country.
I like different band and percussion instruments that were used, including the sousaphone and various instruments. I feel like the Defense Force band was the best by far, and I feel like they did a really good job. I felt like it kept my attention because I'm in social studies on top of my class, so I think it was very fun because I already knew a lot, but I learned more.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Megan Shepard. Residents and businesses of Little Exuma and Baratari are about to see a long-standing issue resolved. The Water and Sewerage Corporation announcing piped water will be coming to those areas for the first time ever. Contracts worth $9 million were awarded to two companies who were tasked with supplying new water distribution and transmission systems to the areas. Works and Utilities Minister Alfred Sayers.
The first contract is being signed with Bakerwick Construction Company Limited in joint venture with Tycoon Management to supply, install, test, and commission 45,000 feet or 8.5 miles of new water mains to serve the communities of Little Exuma. The second contract being signed with Rowdy Boys Construction to supply, install, test, and commission 16,000 feet, or a little over 3 miles, of water mains replacements, including the replacement of 200 water service connections to homes and businesses in the Georgetown area.
The new infrastructures will see some 425 homes and businesses in Little Exuma connected, as well as 130 connections in the Alexander and Baratari communities. Deputy Prime Minister and Member of Parliament for the Exumas and Ragged Island, Chester Cooper, says this signing is personal.
Many of you may or may not know that I was born and grew up at Forbes Hill, Little Exuma. I've waited for this for 50 years. You live with the lack of running water. This means so much more than simply the signing and the execution of a contract. This is a significant improvement in the way of life of the people in these communities, and it demonstrates to them that they have not been forgotten.
The Ministry of Works and Utilities is working to update the current Bahamas Building Code to incorporate coastal infrastructure's design guidance. Our Jamila Mizik explains in tonight's Work in Progress segment.
Due to disastrous hurricanes, rising sea levels, and climate change, improvements must be made to the Bahamas Building Code. Project coordinator for the project implementation unit at the Ministry of Works and Utilities, Charlene Colley, says science-based information is currently being used to help implement the best design options.
Right now, we're using standards of other countries to assist us in ensuring that we stay sustainable, structural integrity. But we need to curtail that to suit the Bahamas and our environment. So the Ministry of Works, through the PIU, seeks to identify the most appropriate and optimal standards, format, and publication that will result in catering to and facilitating to the needs of a progressive country with quality standards for a sustainable building industry with reduced vulnerability and risks to climate change throughout the archipelago.
She notes the country's current building code is being updated and stakeholder engagement and consultation is ongoing.
So there are training sessions and constant stakeholder engagements. We've recently had a session again with a particular focus group of stakeholders who would have written and expressed concerns in the direction they would like to see the Bahamas Building Code take. All of those concerns are taken in, and we're now processing those with our team of consultants that we've hired to review, update, and provide recommendations. So all of that is being taken into account, and once that is completed, another stakeholder engagement to the general body and then focus groups will happen again.
Reporting for Work in Progress for Our News, I'm Jamila Mizik.
When Our News comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as thousands storms Tel Aviv's airport in protest. Plus, a 12-year sentence for a man convicted of human trafficking in the United Kingdom. And a Jamaican Roman Catholic priest is in police custody, accused of sexually assaulting a child. We have the details when Our News returns. This is Our News. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Thousands of anti-government protesters descended on Israel's main airport and blocked streets with large rallies in Tel Aviv. Nationwide demonstrations erupted in response to the government advancing part of its judicial overhaul legislation. While the protests were overwhelmingly nonviolent, as was the case in previous anti-overhaul demonstrations, 77 people were arrested throughout the day. Police intensified their dispersal measures, deploying a water cannon in Tel Aviv, as well as other cities, and several incidents of officers beating demonstrators were caught on camera. A human trafficker has been jailed for 12 years and 7 months over the deaths of 39 Vietnamese migrants who died in a lorry container. 50-year-old Marius Dragici from Romania admitted to 39 counts of manslaughter and 1 count of conspiracy to assist unlawful immigration. The bodies were discovered on an industrial estate in Grays, Essex, England in October 2019. Temperatures rose to 101 degrees Fahrenheit in the container, by which point oxygen levels had slumped and the air was too toxic for human life. They suffocated to death, dying from asphyxia and carbon monoxide poisoning. President Joe Biden has declared a state of emergency in Vermont after torrential downpours triggered life-threatening flash floods. Parts of the northeastern U.S., including New York and Vermont, have seen some of the most severe flooding in more than a decade in recent days.
Drone video from Tuesday captured the extent of flooding in Vermont, with streets turned to rivers across city blocks in the capital, Montpelier. And a nearby reservoir is nearing capacity after days of torrential rain. A spillover could worsen the already catastrophic flooding. More than 7 inches of rain fell on the city over the last 2 days. The city's manager urged residents to be prepared to move to the upper floors of homes as highway closures made evacuations difficult or impossible. The fire chief said rescue teams in boats had reached about a dozen people stranded in homes and vehicles. And the state's governor said the 48-hour storm dumped 4 times more rain in Vermont than Hurricane Irene did in 2011. The devastating downpour ravaged much of the Northeast region. Footage released by the New York State Police shows stranded motorists holding a cable as they wade through rushing floodwater along a submerged roadway. This was the scene in Highland Falls, New York on Monday. Local officials said the weather claimed the life of at least one woman. Governor Kathy Hochul visited to survey the damage. She said the extreme weather was part of the, quote, new normal fueled by climate change.
A Roman Catholic priest in Jamaica is being questioned by police over allegations that he sexually abused a child. The Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Kingston said the unidentified priest was detained by the police on July 5th following the allegation. Media reports said that the priest is accused of committing several sexual offenses against a 12-year-old girl in Portmore, St. Catherine Parish. The report said that the incident reportedly happened last March, but was not reported until last month, and that the priest was reportedly pointed out by the child during an identification parade on Monday. The crew of Coast Guard cutter Richard Nixon repatriated 27 migrants to the Dominican Republic following the interdiction of a makeshift vessel in Mona Passage waters northwest of Aguadillo, Puerto Rico. Most of the interdicted migrants claim to be Dominican Republic nationals, except for 3 Haitian nationals. During the interdiction, the Coast Guard cutter Richard Dixon crew stopped a 25-foot vessel that was initially detected by the aircrew approximately 30 nautical miles northwest of Aguadillo, Puerto Rico. The cutter Richard Dixon crew transported the migrants to waters just off Punta Juanillo, Dominican Republic, where the repatriation was completed. Dominican Republic Navy authorities received the repatriated migrants. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was July 12th. And then in our news at 7:30, BPL says power has been restored for 90% of North Andros residents, but the cost to rebuild the plant there could be over $500,000. The tourism minister is on the record tonight saying we have to protect the #1 industry. That's coming up when our news returns. Welcome back. It's now time to turn our spotlight on events that shaped the day that was July 12th.
On this day in Bahamian history, in 1962, Ruby Ann Cooper Darling became the first woman to register to vote in the Bahamas. In 1961, Parliament passed legislation to enable women to vote. And in the general election of the following year, women voted for the first time. When she was 21, Cooper became the first woman to register for the general election and was also the first Black woman to work in the reservations office at the Balmoral Hotel. She is an ordained minister, counselor, former senator, former member of parliament, and a Sunday school teacher. Then in 1992, there was a Los Angeles Times article about female pirates in the Bahamas. It spoke in length on the history of female pirates in the 1700s and gave accounts on how they operated. Fast forward to 2009, 2 boys, ages 5 and 9, were found after going missing for more than a month in the Andros wilderness. The pair had gone crabbing and had not been seen for 5 weeks when a resident spotted them and phoned the local authorities. The boys said they fell into a large cave-like hole and survived by eating fruits and drinking water from a puddle. And finally, in 2016, the United States Embassy issued a warning about crime in New Providence after the Bahamas released a travel advisory warning Bahamians to exercise caution when traveling to the United States due to an increase in fatal shootings. The U.S. advisory warned Americans traveling to the Bahamas of an increase in armed robbery reports.
In a lengthy notice, U.S. officials cautioned American citizens residing in or visiting New Providence to, among other things, use the buddy system when using ATMs, keep car doors locked and windows rolled up when driving, and keep valuables out of sight. The U.S. Embassy suggested it released the statement in response to reports of a significant increase in armed robberies.
While local government has played an integral role in communities on the Family Islands, Chief Counselor for the City of Freeport Council, Frazette Gibson, says it's needed to keep that connection to the people.
And so you are to address the needs in a timely fashion. However, in the city, we are very special. We have the Grand Mama Port Authority, and we also have central government. And sometimes our responsibilities and duties overlap. What we can see is working better together in partnerships between the three tiers. I think we need to do a better job in doing that.
She says the council is actively involved in the lives of students as they recently launched several summer camps in Freeport to assist students with their developmental skills, from swimming to cooking, sports, and dance.
Parents are very excited about the various camps on the island. They are all free of charge to all residents, and they are managed by qualified instructors in their various fields.
Now, to watch that story again and for all of today's top stories, be sure to visit ournews.bs. That does it for us for News at 7. Joining us now is our Italia Hall with the latest headlines. Italia?
Yes, Megan, great things coming out of Grand Bahama with the City of Freeport Council.
Absolutely.
Great to hear all of the summer camps.
I remember
Hopefully
those
the
days.
kiddies are enjoying it. All right, thanks so much, Megan. Well, thousands of dollars to fix some of the issues on the island of Andros following that major fire. And a local resort may be the perfect location for you and your family this summer. Here are your latest headlines. A significant investment. First tonight on our news live at 7:30. Following that major fire on the island of Andros, officials say repairs will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And despite the disruption in power, a Water and Sewerage Corporation executive confirmed that there's enough water in their reservoir. Plus, following a daylight brawl between residents and tourists in Abaco, the Deputy Prime Minister is mum on the issue. We have his comments. And later, fiber to the home is here. Our Jamila Mizik speaks with an alive official who's sharing more details about Ring products. Our news live at 7:30 is back in a moment. Welcome to our news and thank you for joining us. I'm Italia Hall. Topping news tonight, damage caused by fire in North Andros could run the power giant into just over $500,000. Works and Utilities Minister Alfred Serra is telling Parliament there's been multiple ups and downs accompanied by multiple outages, but assures officials are working around the clock to fix the problems. Bertany McDermott has the details.
Bahamas Power and Light is estimating it will cost $600,000 to supply power to North Andros following that catastrophic fire last week. Providing an update to parliamentarians Wednesday, Works and Utilities Minister Alfred Serra said,
To date, BPL estimates that its current cost for restoring supply power to North Andros is approximately $600,000.
It's been confirmed that all generation assets were destroyed and the building needs to be demolished. It hasn't been an easy road for North Androsians following the fire. On Friday, BPL officials revealed the plan was to implement a 4-hour load-shedding schedule for those residents, but that didn't happen. On Sunday, a controlled shutdown was implemented but was unsuccessful, resulting in a 10-hour-long outage. Then officials met this stumbling block.
On Monday, July 10th, 2023, the 1.6 unit failed due to low oil pressure at around 10 a.m., again resulting in a complete loss of power in North Andros except for Nicholstown and Count Sound.
But the challenges didn't stop there. Parliamentarians also heard the power giant faced a fuel supply issue that damaged 2 of its engines.
It was discovered that this fuel supply from a supplier was contaminated, containing water.
This resulted in another widespread outage for North Andros. He says those machines have since been repaired and power incrementally restored.
90% of the customers in North Andros are on supply. Both machines have been restricted to just 80% of their capacity to prevent overloading.
Officials will also conduct a remediation exercise after a fuel leakage at the property. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks, Berthany. While the Water and Sewage Corporation in North Andros has also been affected by the fire that destroyed BPL's North Andros power plant. It slowed the production of water at the North Andros main station. Assistant General Manager for the Family Islands at the corporation, Gregory Stubbs, says despite the disruption, millions of gallons of water are in their reserve.
At our North Andros main station, where we supply water through Nicholstown, Kongsound and Low Sound, some of those areas in that area, we have 10 million gallons of water in storage. That is enough water to supply North Andros for 30 days. So the water supply itself was never disrupted. The power plant failure or loss would have caused some disruptions in the production of water.
Now, to avoid such a disruption again, Stubbs says a contingency plan is in place.
To purchase a new generator for the main well field in North Andros, that one that produces the most water. We're in the process of looking towards purchasing a generator for that so that when there are power issues from BPL, we can power that plant up. We have a generator there. It's old. It's not operating. It's not producing. As we would like it. But that's the contingency plan. We put another generator in the well fields.
The principal at Grace Christian School of Excellence has been sentenced to prison for kissing a student. Thomas Nottage Sr., who is also a pastor, was arrested in October 2020 after he kissed a 13-year-old girl on the lips and tried to intimately tongue-kiss her. The student said that Nottage also hugged her and told the young teen that he loved her. The incident happened after school hours when Nottage called the student into his office. Now, Nottage admitted to hugging the student and telling her that he loved her. However, he denied that he kissed her. Nottage said the girl falsely accused him because she was angry that he had punished her for being disruptive during a mock examination. Nottage was sentenced to 7 months imprisonment and fined $1,000 after he was convicted of indecent assault by Chief Magistrate Joanne Ferguson Pratt. He was also ordered to pay $500 in compensation to his victim. If Nottage does not pay the fine and compensation, he will have to spend an additional 6 months in prison. While a viral video circulating on social media shows what appears to be a brawl between tourists and residents in Abaco. Individuals can be seen exchanging blows and body slamming each other as onlookers try to stop the fight. Now, a police report says there were separate incidents at the resort on Guanakee, the first resulting in 3 men being treated for injuries and 2 Floridians being arrested. The second incident involved a Bahamian golf cart operator and a patron from Florida involved in a disagreement turned physical, which saw multiple individuals being arrested. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper said very little on the issue.
I have no specific comment on the issue in Abaco. No, I think that's a matter for the police. I invite you to speak with the Commissioner of Police so that he can give you a rundown on the details.
What Cooper is concerned about, though, is protecting our #1 industry.
From time to time, there are random incidences across the country, and wherever there's one undesirable incident, whether it's a fight or anything else between locals or between locals and tourists, I am concerned. So certainly we are in the people business, and we are concerned about the health and safety of our residents, as well as the health and safety of the tourists who visit our shores.
St. Anne's Member of Parliament Adrian White says there needs to be a debate on whether we should implement a 3-strike policy for repeat offenders. His comments come after it was revealed that the man arrested for sexually assaulting that 82-year-old woman was in police custody several times for similar offenses.
If you have 3 serious offenses, we can debate whether that individual should remain in custody for the rest of their lifetime. 3 strikes and you're out. Your freedom to be back in society is done. Or we can debate it along the lines of 3 strikes, and when you're out, the public knows that you're out. The public is on notice. They're aware they can take precautions.
White also suggests more needs to be done by legislators in the fight against crime, specifically gun violence. His comments come after a man was shot and killed this morning.
We were elected to do something about it. We are the 39 individuals that represent over 300,000 citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas that were given the opportunity to fight for their constituents.
All right, well, we've got a whole lot more to get to in a moment, but for now, a quick check on the forecast with meteorologist Greg Thompson, who is standing by in the Weather Center. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Natalia, and welcome everybody for a quick check on conditions outside our studios and around the islands. 88 degrees, it's very warm on the outside. We'll call it warm and muggy. East winds at 9 miles per hour, and your feels-like temperature is a very warm 93 degrees. Satellite and radar composite, quiet across area, ridge of high pressure dominating most of the Bahamas. There is a frontal boundary to the north of the Bahamas that's dragging towards the south and east, bringing some moisture across the northwest Bahamas, Grand Bahama, the Bimini, as well as the Abacos. You guys seeing some isolated showers and thunderstorms. That front will continue to sag south, but will pull east over the next 24 hours. So we could see 1 or 2 more showers late tonight through tomorrow. That's a quick check on conditions around the island. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, hear why the Works and Utilities Minister says the government plan to remove shanty towns could be a costly move. And are you looking for ways to keep your home safe? Well, Alive may have an idea for you, as the company has a wide range of ring products. Also, summertime is here. Are you looking for a staycation? Well, over at Margaritaville Beach Resort, you may be able to have that relaxing experience. That's all coming up when our news returns.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now.
Go to doctors.
3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road, and Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
Last month, the Works and Utilities Minister shared that government's plan to remove shanty towns would be costly and that a comprehensive plan would be revealed soon. He also shared the formation of a committee put together to formally deal with the issue, which has plagued New Providence and the Family Islands for some time now. Today, Sayers doubled down on the committee's efforts, saying it's been partnering with local authorities on the plan forward on what he calls a complex issue.
We have assembled a secretariat, and the secretariat is working with the intelligence branch of the Royal Bahamas Police Force and the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. So their work is ongoing, and in early course we will be disclosing the various measures which will be taken. But we're also talking about a complex issue. Not only is it complex in the Bahamas, wherever it exists, it is complex. It involves multi-dimensional issues, and it also has international implications.
Is someone at your door? That's the question Alive Fiber is helping their customers to answer with their ring products. Jamila Mizik explains.
It's not your average doorbell. The Ring home security system includes security cameras and alarm systems designed to keep you and your family safe. And with the use of Alive Fiber, emerging products manager Keitra Todd says you'll always be connected.
Alive Fiber, allows you to easily accommodate, integrate for a seamless connectivity. In the realm of home security, like Ring Smart Security Solutions, it allows you to provide that additional safety and protection in the customer's home.
But what are the benefits of integrating Ring Smart Security into your home?
Ring is really a comprehensive smart security solution. I was speaking to a customer recently, and they said, Ring is one of those products that you don't know you need it until you have it. And then when you have it, you can't live without it just because of that added convenience.
Alive Fiber fiber also supports the full suite of Ring smart security devices.
A live fiber, it's reliable, it's fast. It allows you to connect to, streaming live feeds very seamlessly without lag and delay. So when you get things like your motion detection or your Ring alerts, you're able to receive those and just kind of stay plugged into what's happening to your home.
And she says it's not just exclusive to Alive customers.
Anyone who's interested in enhancing their security in their home is more than welcome to visit one of our stores, whether that's Harbor Bay, Southwest Plaza, or Cable Beach. For us, ultimately, it's about ensuring that people have accessible, smart security solutions in their home. And really, it's about keeping people connected to the things and people that matter the most.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jamila Mizik.
When Our News comes back from the break, Margaritaville has been labeled as a hotel that's filled with lots of fun. Hear from a top official about why the resort may be the perfect getaway for you. Plus, we hope you have your water bottles out as it is an extremely hot Wednesday in the capital. Greg is back with your extended weather when Our News continues. Stay with us.
Today's sports update is sponsored by Michelob Ultra, distributed in the Bahamas by Jimmy's Wines and Spirits.
This is Our News. Welcome back. Deltec Bank sponsors the next generation of Bahamian sailors, and Dalen Adderley makes a decision on where he will transfer to. Tage Adderley joins us now with sports. Tage?
Thanks, Natalia. Good evening. I'm Tage Adderley, joining you from the Bahamas Games at the D.W. Davis Gymnasium. Early this year, sailing was announced as our country's national sport, creating a surge of interest. Deltec Bank has stepped up in a big way to help fill that demand.
With the 50th anniversary of the Bahamas, or 50th anniversary of independence of the Bahamas, we really wanted to support the sailing community as the national sport of the Bahamas. And we're really excited that we could contribute to the youth in this way.
It's great to see corporate citizens chipping in to give our youth access to sports.
We can take our programs to the next level and help a lot more Bahamian sailors from all walks of life.
We announced a while back that Dalen Adderley has entered the transfer portal. The former Texas Southern baseball player has made a decision on where he'll go next. That'll do it for sports. I'm Tage Adderley reporting from the D.W. Davis Gymnasium.
Still ahead on Our News tonight, are you looking for the perfect vacation right here at home? You may be able to get that top-notch experience at the Margaritaville Beach Resort. We'll tell you how. And Greg is coming up with your mid-weather week planner when Our News returns.
Welcome back to Our News. We're halfway through the work week, but what will the weather have in store as we get closer to the weekend? Well, Greg Thompson is back in the Weather Center. Greg, what can you tell us?
Yeah, thanks again, Italia, and welcome back, everybody, for our final check of weather. Ridge of high pressure dominating our weather. It's a weak one, but the breeze is still up at around 15 to 20 knots, cautionary levels across the southeast Bahamas. Weak frontal boundary to the north, generating some isolated showers and some thunderstorms across the extreme northern islands, Grand Bahama, the Abacos, as well as the Bimini area. We will continue to see 1 or 2 showers later on tonight as the system continues to slide towards the south and east, eventually pulling away from us with high pressure and some Saharan dust replacing that. Out in the Atlantic, in the tropics, the National Hurricane Center watching an area out there that is just, a couple hundred miles to the southeast of Bermuda. It's giving about a 50% chance for the potential for formation over the next couple of days, but it has a very narrow window for that. Eventually, it should pull towards the north and east, back into some cooler waters, and it should dissipate by the end of the week. Future forecast showing the isolated showers and thunderstorms across the northern islands, most of it staying just to the north of Bahamas through Thursday, and then through Friday, a couple isolated showers popping up just to the west of the Bahamas, some of that popping up in the central Bahamas as well. Boating conditions for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of southeast to south, 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. They will fall light and variable at times across the northwest Bahamas. You can expect a low tide at 11:22 tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, that caution flags remains in place with a high rip current risk for swimmers. East to southeast winds 15 to 20 knots, seas running 4 to 6 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, the hot, warm conditions will continue through the remainder of the week. There's an uptick in some showers on Saturday, but those temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s, and your daytime feels like temperatures will be in triple digits. Once again, we're urging you to stay protected, limit your outdoor activity, and make sure you drink lots of liquids. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
Yes, Greg, hot, and maybe you can cool down at the Margaritaville Beach Resort, which was inspired by legendary singer and best-selling author Jimmy Buffett. Well, tonight we get an inside look at how the sales and marketing team have set their sights on group bookings. Let's take a look.
We have JWB Steakhouse, Prime Steakhouse, which actually is Jimmy William Buffett Steakhouse. We have Milk and Cream, which is an ice cream shop. We also have resort activities on property. There's champagne hour at the beach. There's shots at the beach. There's shots at the pool. Yes, at a certain time, so you have to come and and we'll surprise you when you get here.
Guests are welcome with a literal margarita when checking into the Margaritaville Beach Resort. Margaritaville has been labeled as a resort that's filled with fun for its guests and employees. Assistant Director of Sales and Marketing, Tania Miller, shares her role in making it all happen.
We think that we have a niche product. We're steps away from the ocean. The new cruise port is opening, so we get to watch all of the cruise ships cruise into the port. And that's a part of the portfolio that we're really trying to push here, fun.
Most of their guests are from the United States.
The type of client that we're looking for the families that need a break and they want to come to the Bahamas. They want that casual lifestyle. They want refinement, but they want to laugh. They don't want to take themselves too seriously.
And as for occupancy levels,
with group business, we've been able to hit occupancy levels of 100%. So that's been absolutely fantastic for the brand and the resort. Moving into Q3 and Q4, which are the softer months on property, we're looking to celebrate the festive period. We're looking to also bring in the incentive business to the resort that is such a critical part of the business.
Miller says their local rate is perhaps one of the most used rates, which will be offered until the end of the year. She says for her, the job is sometimes 24 hours.
But it's fun. We look at, our travel agents. We lean really heavily on them. We look at our relationships that we have with the tourism office and the promotional boards. Also, we look at just the local client. Word of mouth marketing is one of the most reaching ways that we can really commit to the local community and also for them to tell other people about Margaritaville. And we're open and ready to welcome everyone to the resort.
All right, I encourage you to check the resort out, and to see that story again, you can visit ournews.bs. And with that, we thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.